the men's War Games match. It was mayhem at the end of Monday Night Raw tonight between these 10 individuals that you see on your screen. These star-studded teams. Of course, I'm talking about QB1, the WWE champion Cody Rhodes, the World Heavyweight champion CM Punk, the OTC Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Jay, the Usos on one side, and then on the other side, the Vision comprised of Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, the Maverick Logan Paul, of course, led by Paul Heyman. Could be one of the most star-studded War Games matches ever in existence. Before I get into the actual match, I want to address some online chatter that is going on. And I feel like this comes up every time there is a gimmick match attached to a pay-per-view, whether that be Elimination Chamber, whether that be Money in the Bank, whether that be Hell in a Cell, fill in the blank, doesn't matter. Every time there is a gimmick attached to a pay-per-view, I'm always going to call it pay-per-view, by the way. People bring this up and they're like, it's so predictable because we know the pay-per-view's coming up. Well, I can understand Hell in a Cell to an extent. I can understand some of those things to an extent that, yes, some of those things are predictable. But War Games has always been this way. In the WCW days, in the NWA, and the Crockett days, War Games was attached to the Great American Bash, and then it was attached to Fall Brawl. It's always been attached to an event. And it's always been a conglomeration babyface team taking on a heel faction. Always and forever. Look at the WCW ones. This was created by Dusty Rhodes for a match to lock the Horsemen inside a cage with a roof on it so they couldn't go anywhere. And then they transitioned that to the NWO in the mid-90s, late 90s. That's what this match is made for. So yes, this might be a hodgepodge babyface team. It's a hodgepodge babyface team on the other side. It's a hodgepodge heel team. I'm talking about the women. I apologize. I'll get to that in a second. But this not only continues the tradition of War Games, it continues the Survivor Series tradition, 5-on-5. So you get the best of both worlds. So while it may be attached to a pay-per-view, I think War Games is the exception to the gimmick match that is predictable. Now, a lot of people online might disagree with me, but you can't just do War Games at a random pay-per-view. For example, this Sunday, it's Backlash featuring War Games. It just doesn't make any sense. You just can't do that. You just Clash in Paris featuring War Games. No, it's married to an event, and that's the way that it should be. You can't just up and do War Games. You just can't. So it's my little rant about the online chatter going on with this gimmick match. Either way, big night tonight on Monday Night Raw. The OTC Roman Reigns kicking off Monday Night Raw in a huge way. Gets interrupted immediately by Cody Rhodes and then CM Punk. And they're sort of arguing about whose team this is and this, that, and the other. And Roman Reigns ends the opening segment by saying that title would look good on my shoulder. And Punk says, which one? And Roman by that time is already out of the ring, and he speaks to the floor camera and he says, I guess that's for y'all to figure out. Good stuff. I talked about this last week, how I think that this match leads to Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble. And it's a huge decision for him, whether he would face Cody Rhodes or CM Punk at WrestleMania. So I think that is huge. So let's see where this goes. Nonetheless, Monday Night Raw tonight closed up with the advantage match. It was the Usos against not Brock Lesnar, against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Logan Paul gets the sneaky win for the heels. Not what I saw coming. I thought the baby faces might get a win here so that Brock Lesnar could be the last man in the cage, but seems like it'll probably be Roman Reigns as the last man in the cage. That's fine. But that happens, and then chaos ensues. Everybody breaks off and brawls. I want to take you back to one thing last week, though, when we saw this face-to-face between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. There's a lot of wrestling fans who believe that Brock Lesnar doesn't put people over, or Brock Lesnar won't do business, or what have you. Brock Lesnar sold the Superman punch last week from Roman Reigns like $1 million. It was one Superman punch. Brock flipped over, rolled out of the ring. One shot took him down. When was the last time you saw Brock Lesnar get taken down by one shot? Roman Reigns did it last week. So that shows you how much that Brock Lesnar respects Roman Reigns. Last week, obviously, we focused a whole lot on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns because those were the big returns at Madison Square Garden. So I want to look at some other guys here. Cody Rhodes, many people, including Bully Ray on Busted Open, saying that his promo on Friday Night SmackDown on top of the announce table was the best of his career, talking about how it's his birthright, not only to be in the War Games, but to win the War Games. For all the people that Paul Heyman is stacking up against him for Cody to just knock him down, how Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed won't ever learn their place until they're flat on their back, and that he's already beat Brock Lesnar. Just all these things. Just a fantastic promo from Cody to get us all riled up. And then you have the Usos, who tonight, after the Cody, Punk, and Roman situation, they come in all hyped. They're the best team in the world, whatever. Is it just me? But it seems like they've forgotten this Usos story where there was tension between them, that Roman was sort of causing a divide in between them, and that Jay was acting like they were calling him Little Roman and all this. Did we just drop that? I thought we were going somewhere with that. Did we drop that? We'll see. We might be able to pick that up with one of the scenarios that I've got laid out here for how this War Games match may end. So let's look at some possible scenarios, because I truly think this match can go either way. And in those results, there's a lot of different directions that we could go with this. So let's look at the heels winning the match. I just mentioned Jey Uso. I think it would be huge if Jey Uso got pinned in this match. Because then, if Jey Uso gets pinned, Roman Reigns is disappointed. Because Roman told him when he came back, Jey, who's kicking off the top of the hour? Who's the world champion? You better go after him. You better take that spot. Well, if Jey gets pinned, no matter who pins him, I mean, how does Roman feel about that? How does Roman take that? What if Jimmy gets pinned? Then there's more disappointment in the bloodline, because Roman seemingly has chosen Jey, and they've both seemingly left Jimmy out to dry. Now, again, I just mentioned that it seems like on TV we've already dropped that storyline, but it's an easy way to bring it back up. Say, Jimmy, you didn't hold up. You're getting left out. So I think either Uso could get pinned in that situation. What if the heels win the match? And what if the world heavyweight champion gets pinned in this match? What happens if CM Punk gets pinned in this match? I would say that whoever pins CM Punk would be right in line for a world championship match. And you got to think, then that's probably Braun Breaker. Out of these guys, could be Drew McIntyre, I guess. But I think it's either Braun Breaker or Brock Lesnar. Because I think out of this War Games match, one of these two guys will be the next challenger for CM Punk. I think they have to. So those are the scenarios if the heels were to win. What about the baby faces? I mean, easily you look at the three guys that I just mentioned, Cody, Punk, and Roman. It's very plausible that any of them gets the pin in this match. And I think Andy mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. The heels losing, you can build tension between Brock Lesnar and Braun Breaker. If that's the case, I think either way you slice this, I think Logan Paul is probably getting pinned in this match, especially if they're trying to save Cody and Drew for somewhere down the line. Brock Lesnar's not getting pinned unless it's Roman Reigns doing the pinning. I think Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, they're on their way up. So I don't think you pin them in this situation. So I think Logan Paul is literally in there to eat the pin. And listen, there's 5 baby faces on the other side. I think Logan Paul is a smart enough man that he'll take the L and he'll be okay. So doesn't matter which babyface gets the, I don't know that it, obviously Roman winning can solidify his case for the Royal Rumble for a championship match. Obviously, you're not going to go wrong if CM Punk or Cody Rhodes, your 2 champions, get a win because you have those guys on top. Jey Uso, if you're serious about trying to further this story with Roman, gets a huge win. I don't think there's any way that Jimmy wins, but the other 4 guys, I could see it. If someone were to pin Brock Lesnar, I mentioned Roman Reigns is probably the only one. Cody's already beat him twice, so he's probably not going to. And I don't think Punk will, because Punk is probably going to face Brock for the championship. But if someone does, Sam Roberts brought up a great point on his podcast, that even though that person maybe didn't face John Cena on his way out, that person can get the rub of beating Cena by beating this version of Brock, because Brock squashed Cena at WrestlePalooza. Now, when Sam was talking about this, he was alluding to a younger guy, maybe a Carmelo Hayes or a Gunther or a Braun Breaker or whatever. Same could apply for Roman Reigns. Not that Roman Reigns needs that rub, but it would be good. All that to say, if I had the pencil and I was booking the men's War Games match at Survivor Series, the heels get this one done. I think the Vision team gets the win. I think this is easy. I think Brock Lesnar pins Jey Uso to drive a wedge to get that storyline back going between Roman, Jimmy, and Jey. And I think Brock Lesnar gets a shot at CM Punk at the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, mind you. So, got to have a big time name like Brock Lesnar in there to face CM Punk, legends, quote unquote. So, that's my pick. I think the Beast, Brock Lesnar, gets the pin in his first and only War Games match. And he ends up facing CM Punk